So Gupta, you can start.
Huge need to strengthen our research capabilities. And one of the biggest challenging when you start working on research is the time it takes to conduct research. It's very important to see how we can conceptualize research in a way that will provide some kind of certainty that will get strong results. And moreover, how with one set of data, we can produce multiple papers with different concepts. When we publish, either we publish only conceptual, and that's very difficult to publish in top journals, reputed journals. And if we have empirical support for our models, and if we are looking for new data for each of our papers, that's a very inefficient approach. Internationally, some of the studies have inspired lots and lots of other studies and have been used across the board. So for instance, if you look at the study that I conducted on Globe research on culture and leadership, we developed constructs of culture dimensions and leadership dimensions, and more than 100,000 papers have been written with one set of data. Versus you're writing only one paper with one data. If your data can inspire multiple papers, in that case, you can also attract a lot of collaborators who can work on different parts of the research, carry forward. You can involve a faculty from finance department or a marketing department, or faculty who is expert in different kind of methods, different kind of maybe sociology, anthropology. You can bring interdisciplinary collaborators. But that you can do only when you are clear about what's going on the data through an initial set of papers. If we are jumping from one data set to another data set for each of our papers, then we never have a good grasp of what's happening in the data. In that case, we are never able to be confident enough to then invite scholars from across disciplines to take us forward and to contribute something original. And I'm going to share a way through which, with one set of data, you can conceptualize multiple papers. And if we are able to master that skill, that will significantly increase our research productivity. Using this approach, over the last even 3 months, I've written papers every 2 weeks. I'm able to complete one paper of about 10,000 words, including its structural equation modeling and data analysis. All papers submitted to top-ranked journals. Of course, they're under review process right now, but I'm sharing with you the productivity boost that you can realize if you're clear about the objective. The objective is that how can we design the study in a way that our data collection is strong, and that data collection then allows us to conceptualize in different ways, using different dependent variables to publish other collaborators a variety of papers. So that's what is metaphysical approach. Metaphysical approach is really an intellectual approach. It's not a physical body approach, where physically you're thinking kind of one element, and then you're using your physical resources. This is about intellectually designing a smart designing of your research so that one thing gives you infinite benefits. So the first is systems approach. By that, I mean integrating old with new research, academic writing. So reviewing academic literature for discovering new conceptual model by reinventing old, practical examples, how to apply the conceptual model to your domain of research, and then breakouts. The whole integrating framework here is about truth. So when we conduct research, that means we are searching in a new way. So when we are researching, what we are researching is whether there's any truth in whatever has been said and whatever is normally understood as either science or as wisdom. Is there a truth to that? And that's what we are investigating. Now, when we talk about truth, Satya, what is truth? Metaphysically, there are actually 8 different forms of truth. The first is, it comes from our Indian tradition, which is absolute truth. Absolute truth means truth does not change. Now, when truth will not change, does not change, absolute truth is like a present truth, which is causation dependent. Causation means reason. There's a reason why something is present as truth. So why E equal to mc square is present as truth? Because we have idealized and identified Einstein as the god of science. So we don't question E equal to mc square. It has been equation which has been gifted by a deity. ये देव ने, ये जो साइंस के देवता हैं, उन्होंने हमारे को ये गिफ्ट दिया है E equal to mc square. Therefore we cannot question it. So it's an absolute truth for science. The second is potential truth. Potential truth is a truth has a potential to take any form. The truth is not the same as the body of knowledge it forms. Since the body is time dependent and processed by the intellect, the consciousness, the soul, is different from the body. So we are not the body. Truth is not the body. The body of E equal to mc square is the body of knowledge, physical body of knowledge which has been created. Therefore, if we understand potential truth means it has a potential to be perfect truth. Potential truth is not the same as the body of knowledge it forms. So the absolute truth and potential truth are different. The potential truth is time dependent because the potential to take any form evolves over time. Now we think of E equal to mc square. At the time of Newton, we had a different understanding of energy. That energy is like a force which is equal to mass times acceleration. So at different times, in different times of evolution of science, there is a different understanding of what energy is. That body of knowledge keeps on changing as we try to focus on different elements of reality. Truth itself is space dependent. A discoverer of truth perceives the truth depending on the space in the mind. If your mind is blocked with the preconceived notions, then you are not going to perceive the truth. Then the primeval truth. Primeval truth means infinite truth. Primeval truth is cause dependent. Cause is potential. Again, so it's a potential dependent, it's a cause dependent. One has the potential for knowing many truths that vary over time by experiencing them. Okay, so what is the cause? Cause is that you are available to experience that truth. And based on your experience, you then decide that this is the truth. And you understand the truth of different things based on your experiences, because your experience is not one experience which is repeated all the time. You experience different things. And therefore, based on that infinite truths, you construct a truth which is absolute truth. So you understand that in January, Mother Nature behaves in this way. The season is like this. In February, the season is like this. March, the season is like this. And based on that, you say that the weather in India is like this. Okay, so based on infinite truths, 12 different truths, you construct an absolute truth of the year. Primordial truth. Primordial means Uttam. Uttam Satya. Primeval means Tamas, aparimit. And Uttam is always parimit, finite. Because Uttam cannot be infinite. Uttam has to be finite. There's only one Uttam element. So primordial truth is entity dependent. The entity knows the truth. It seeks to service using language as a medium. Okay, so entity could be even Bhagwan, it could be spirit, it could be any entity. It could be you. So in your heart and heart, you know the truth. But even if you have experienced the truth, sometimes you know the truth based on your intuition, not experience. And experience is our physical experience. Intuition is coming from our para-consciousness, para-atma. And that's giving you a sense, intuitive sense of this is what the reality is. In my Professor Singh manages the whole institute. He knows what will work for the institute. Not all the time he will be able to explain the reason for his thinking, his intuition, in a way which is convincing for each and every person. Why? Because there's a language limitation. If you're using English, you are using Sanskrit, so he may have to interchange language to communicate what he knows as the truth. Language, when you're using language as a medium, you always have to over-project partial truth. Why? Just like Professor Singh was mentioning that next time I come, I have to come for 2 days to compensate. So when your language is limited, then you have to compensate by over projecting your language. उसको बढ़ा चढ़ा कर बोलना है ताकि लोगों के समझ में आ जाए, लोग कन्विंस हो जाएं. So when you're over projecting partial truth, what happens? Not an iota of truth is ultimately left in the wisdom. So when we say that our Indian wisdom has a lot of value, now we don't understand that. We understand a part of it. We are over projecting it. That our Indian wisdom is everything and everything is known. Then what happens? Ultimately, not an iota of truth is left. We leave our wisdom and go to science. And we say that our wisdom has no value. Because we are over projected. Without understanding what is there in the wisdom, we have over projected. We have tried to over project now what's there. And ultimately, people have lost confidence and faith in what's there. Whole truth is growth dependent. It is dependent on the growth in linguistic proficiency. Purna Satya. Language includes not the words. Sometimes you use the music, language of music, to communicate. The joy that you're feeling, the thing that you are that you know is true. When you're doing devotional songs, your language is not going to communicate. You have to express your sort of emotions and devotion intensity, and use the medium of music as a language, right? Sometimes you use images as a language. Then wholesome truth is entropy dependent. Dependent on the entropy of wisdom codified before language was perfected. Otherwise, that whole baggage of contaminated wisdom is going to continue, is going to limit your ability to convey truth. So in your research, if you publish a research, people might say, reviewer might say that your research is not consistent with the previous research. So when we published Globe, our measure of uncertainty avoidance had a negative 0.9 correlation, 0.8 correlation with Hofstede's measure of uncertainty avoidance. We had to create an entropy of the wisdom which was associated by, which said that Hofstede's measure of uncertainty avoidance is true because it has been supported empirically in so many studies. Unless there was an entropy of Hofstede-related wisdom, and a lot of people still use Hofstede's measures without understanding kind of what really are they measuring. Of course, they have some value, but you have to they don't have the same face value as Hofstede is saying that they have. They mean something else compared to what Hofstede is claiming that they mean. So wholesome truth, our ability, the whole truth, which has become something else. That's what is wholesome. So whole truth, which has become something else, which has become false. The Globe research looked at whole truth, but it had become like something else because people were still committed to Hofstede's work. And they said that your work is not correct. Finally, the wholesome whole truth is force dependent or effect dependent. Is dependent on the force of action which clarifies consciousness by destroying the contaminated part. So that force comes from your confidence and conviction. So if you are convinced that what your work is based on truth, that comes from an investigator who is convinced.
I'm not sure whether up to what extent I'm able to understand, though it seems like it requires attentive listening. I think there are two perspectives: truth from the truth side and truth from the side perspective of the audience. By the time you say it is time dependent and it is forced and that's how it takes its shape or mode, it will no longer be truth. I mean, as a normal person who have understood truth as an English word, satya is always. I mean, there are जैसे हमने वो भी सुनी थी कहीं line, maybe somewhere on internet. There are always three sides of every discussion: your side, my side, and right side. So truth is the moment truth is tempered with, it no longer should remain as a truth. But still, we are using the term truth.
So that's a very good question. And if you look at truth, which is a third, so truth is space dependent. So if you have to understand Dr. Kushag's truth, and his truth is that there are three dimensions of truth: your truth, my truth, and our truth.
So your truth, my truth, and actual truth.
Right? Yes. Both agree. So that becomes actual truth. So truth is space dependent. So for me to understand what you're saying, it depends on the space in my mind.
Right.
If your truth is
Right.
a discoverer, kind of depending on the space in the mind, you will be able to grasp the truth.
Sir, actually, do I take this 8 metaphysical forms of the truth as 8 different dimensions of understanding the word called truth?
You can do that. Yes, that's a good way of thinking about it.
मतलब अगर मेरे को सच को समझना है कि सच किसे कहा जाता है, तो मैं ये इतने इतने प्रकार के डायमेंशन ले सकता हूँ कि सच शायद चेंज नहीं होता, सच जो है वो कोई कैन टेक एनी फॉर्म। मतलब आपका सच और मेरा सच अलग हो सकता है ना,
हाँ,
स्पेस डिपेंडेंट हो सकता है कि हम वहां पे आप किस सिचुएशन में थे, मैं किस सिचुएशन में था।
बिल्कुल।
ओके ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
Sir,
ओके,
sir, I have one doubt.
आई एम टेकिंग द स्लाइड। ओके, थैंक यू।
Sir, I have one doubt, sir. Can these type of a truth can be reconciled with scientific inquiry or especially in terms of inquiry related to any management research, or just to establish a problem, putting our argument that why this is a researchable problem?
Yes, so you can use it in any way if you have the clarity, because ultimately the important aspect is that if you have to be an original researcher who is going to make an impact, then your truth has to be wholesome whole truth. Only that way you can clarify consciousness and bring clarity. So for instance, if we say, what did Shri Krishna do? So Shri Krishna truth was wholesome whole truth. He destroyed all the preconceived notions.
Wholesome truth is entropy dependent. So
Yes.
somewhere we are talking about the energy, with the what energy you are putting the things.
So of course, energy is part of all these, right? So when you're saying that truth does not change, that means that it has become like a potential energy. It is not changing. So when you say truth does not change, it does not mean that it will not change.
So it can take the kinetic form also.
Yes. When truth can take any form over time, so every moment the truth of nature is changing. So that's the kinetic form.
Right, sir. Right. Getting you.
Okay,
Thank
the
you,
very
sir.
first one is the potential energy. That truth is
Yeah,
not changing. Why is it not changing? Because nobody the
dependent
reason.
on gravity. Dependent on gravity.
Yes.
Right. Got it.
So
Got
somebody
it.
came and somebody powerful came and said that this is what the truth is, and therefore everybody is following that truth, unless somebody else comes and is able to challenge and able to show people that whatever you're thinking. So earlier Newton was the father of science, father of physics.
Yeah.
And when Einstein came, he said that whatever Newton said was incorrect, and therefore whatever was the
Exactly. Getting you, sir. Just like Adam Smith had given the your this economics के लिए
Right.
उन्होंने प्रिंसिपल्स दिए, जिसको चैलेंज किया हमारे अमर्त्य सेन ने।
हाँ,
ही इज कॉल्ड एज ए फादर ऑफ द मॉडर्न फिजिक्स। ही
Right.
चैलेंज दैट कि जो प्रिंसिपल्स आपने बताए थे अब वो काम नहीं करते हैं, अब वो दूसरे काम करते हैं।
हाँ, तो उस पीरियड के अंदर वो एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ था न्यूटन का, और जब नई चीज आई तो अब वो एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ हो गया।
राइट। ग्रेट सर, ग्रेट। सिंगल स्लाइड जो है आपका बहुत पावरफुल है सर, थैंक यू।
हाँ, विपिन सर, गुड इवनिंग।
रियली पावर।
सो एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ मींस प्रेजेंट ट्रूथ। अब आज का ट्रूथ ये है।
जी।
ओके,
थैंक
तो
यू सर।
एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ को है ना चैलेंज करना बहुत ही मुश्किल है,
राइट।
क्योंकि दैट्स ए प्री कंसीव्ड नोशन। ओके, तो आपका वर्क अगर है ना वो एब्सोल्यूट ट्रुथ को चैलेंज कर रहा है, तो है ना देन इट्स अ प्रॉब्लम। सो द ओनली वे यू कैन डू दैट इज बाय होलसम होल ट्रुथ, बाय फोर्स ऑफ कन्विक्शन, फोर्स ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस।
गॉट यू सर, गॉट यू। रियली वर्दी स्लाइड सर, वर्दी स्लाइड।
ओके, so metaphysical approach integrating old with new. Over time, there has been proliferation of concepts professing general elements of reality as theories, assuming they are generally true and objective. So when we test our theories, that is called positivist science. Seek injection into practice to find support for the criteria that produce unconditional effects as expected. That entrepreneurs fail a lot during the ideation stage. Only 1 in 10 ideas succeed. and you create a theory that initially there's a lot of failure, and later on kind of one of the ideas succeed. And then what happens is that you invest in that idea and that idea grows. And then other people look at other ideas, you look at to diversify ideas, and then that idea ultimately goes away and merges into a new idea. Now, if we are teaching that in the classroom to our students, what's going to happen? Okay, their intellect will be programmed, their minds will be trained, that initially you should not put a lot of effort, because all your ideas, only one of them will succeed. So there's no point being invested in your idea. And after a period of time, when get feedback from a lot of people, and after that, kind of you sort of kind of focus on that. And now you test the theory. If you tested the theory before that, your theory has no evidence. But once you have trained your students to work according to theory, then your theory has 100% evidence. What it has become? It has become absolute truth. Because you are the one who trained the practitioners. Okay, so that's what the modern science does. Modern science is about developing theories and then promoting theories, teaching theories in universities, and then testing it and showing that over a period of time, the evidence has become stronger. Unless somebody else comes in, so you found evidence for mass production, and unless Japan came in where the theory was never tested, they never taught that theory, and they therefore pioneered lean production. And lean production led to complete change. Now, if you try to find evidence for mass production, there's zero evidence. So you have to understand if somebody shows you evidence, where that evidence is coming from. The evidence is coming from polluting your minds with the theory, colonizing your intellect, and making you the medium to colonize the student intellect. So when you become the agents, free agents for principals who are trying to promote their principalhood, and you take the agency so that you can get the rewards of agency without any moral hazard. The second is differentiation of precepts. Precept is like preconceived notions, confessing specific elements of reality of interest as ideas, presuming they are specifically false. So an idea, I'm just putting that idea out. I know that it's not correct. I want to see, I want to get your views on it. So you know that your idea is false, and therefore you want to get more ideas. Okay, why? Because once you get all the ideas, then you can construct a theory out of it. So idea is the source of the theory. Idea is a specific element which applies to a specific situation. You experience a specific situation, based on that you come up with an idea that this may be true, but you know that this is false. That when the summer is there, I don't wear sweaters. So I can't say that the weather is cold. I experience cold, it doesn't mean the weather will be cold all the time. But my idea is that in India, because I visited Kashmir during the winter time, my idea is that in India, I always have to wear heavy coats. And I'm putting out there, I know that I went only one time. I don't have the full experience of India. I want to visit only one place. So maybe what I know in my heart of heart that is not true. That is only a time-dependent truth of a particular moment. So that is subjective. It's an experience which I have experienced. It's subjective experience of a subject who has been subjected to this moment of time. Constructivist science, which seeks rejection of idea to construct a model that works under the experimentally defined conditions. Concept proliferation, precept differentiation. So let's look at why do people get attracted to something. So something also includes a theory or an idea. So why do we get attracted to theory of institutional theory? Why do we get attracted to resource-dependent theory? Why do we get attracted to the finance theories? The one that we are attracted to is a technology. We can use theory as a technology. Technology is something that transforms inputs into output. Whatever ideas we have in our mind, that's an input. We can, using that theory, we can transform that into a publishable paper. Get attracted to a theory because it allows us to publish a paper. It allows us to teach in an elegant way in the classroom. It gives form to anything. It attracts by offering an exploitation opportunity. So if we exploit the theory, we become an expert in that theory. We become an intellectual. We become a consultant. Giving form to us is giving a form of consultant to us, is giving a form of teacher to us, is giving a form of researcher to us. It gives form to anything. Anything is an organization. Organization can be individual. We are organization of cells. and there could be organization of individuals, organization of collectives. Organization norms the form given by something for exploitation of its benefit, not knowing the cost. So when you're using a theory, you don't know the cost of that theory. Okay, because you're assuming that theory to be absolute truth. And you're teaching that as if it is truth. Everything is ecosystem. It transforms the form of anything from an organization into nothing but a part of the system. You have become a part of the system which is propagating that theory. That's what has become your identity. You are a theory propagator which promotes somebody else's reputation. The system attracts the organization. The world system is attracting you as an organization with an ego, but using an illusion that the technology is attracting. Because if you don't use the theory, you don't get published. You don't have the credibility in the classroom. If you're teaching based on your experience, the students will run away. Okay, because that's what they have been used to now, that we have to learn the theories. What are you teaching? If I go to other universities, my knowledge is not transferable. Okay, it doesn't matter that what you're teaching is the truth, which can actually give results. The important aspect is, are they able to have that conversation with other colleagues, other students, peers from different universities, that have you learned Porter's 5 forces? No, I have not learned. Okay, so then that means they are not being taught anything. Now let's map it down to theories of technology trading. So one is technology adoption. Technology adoption is about why mind adopts and selects something is of interest for potential exploitation. Technology acceptance, why our intellect is accepting anything of interest to the mind for further exploration. हमारे मन ने कह दिया ये अच्छा है, तो हमारे intellect उसमें लग जाता है. Let's spend time. Let's explore. Let's accept that this is of value. Let's explore that this is of potential truth. Form has been given now for exploration of benefit. And technology application. Technology application is about behavior. Why brain applies its cellular energy for processing anything that entangles the intellect to produce nothing but the assimilation within body's behaviors. So whatever air you have been breathing and theory has been there, it has now been part of all your body consciousness. The whole body is now involved in using that theory to show in different ways that it is true. And therefore, you have to jump from one data to another. You have to apply that theory to first data set, then you have to apply that to second data set, to third data set, fourth data set, because your heart of heart knows that that theory is not correct. And therefore, kind of all you're doing your life, you're spending a loop using that theory until you gravitate to another theory. Okay, so that's what life has become of academics. Now, connecting technology and organization domains. Theories of technology trading. Technology adoption is a mental work. It transforms our attitude. Attitudes was something that we see as false earlier. Now, based on theory, we say, oh, I earlier thought this is not correct. Now, I think it is true. My views have changed. Technology acceptance is an intellectual work. It transforms intention to do things. Earlier, I was not willing to do this. Now, I intend to do this. I intend to use this theory. I intend to purchase. So the theory is that a latest iPhone is very good, and therefore I intend to purchase it now. Okay, my attitude towards the latest iPhone is very good, because that is the social theory right now. Okay, it doesn't matter that I have no use for those new features. They are not going to be helpful for me. The old features are good enough for me. My phone is working very well. But everybody is saying it's a better phone. I intend to continue using this theory. Because when I use this theory, I get a joy. Whenever I test it, I always support it. I get to publish the paper. So technology application is a brain work. It transforms behavior. And let's add one more thing. Technology assimilation is a body work. When our whole body is involved in something, our body of consciousness is involved in something that transforms the value of that. If everybody is buying that phone, what happens to that value of that phone? The price will increase. The value of the phone will increase. And once they have captured the value will decrease. So that value is there for you to capture as a business. When you have assimilated your technology, that's the moment if you don't capture the value, somebody else will capture and the value will dissipate. Now you can combine that and map it to the organizational domain. When you talk about mental work transforms attitude, that's about planning criteria for technology selection. Under what conditions you get attracted to a particular technology? What is the criteria that you're using? I get joy by using this technology. And source of my joy is my awareness that it reduces cost, it gives me a prestige, it's cutting edge technology, it allows me to attract new talent, it allows me to attract new suppliers because it's cutting edge. So therefore, it's a joyful technology. I can attract new talent which wants to work with new technology. It wants that challenge and joy. Programming. Programming is a condition for technology acceptance. I differentiate myself from what exists now. Performing is the effect of technology application, differentiating subsystems for artificial intelligence application. And finally, profiting is the cause for technology assimilation, producing differentiation advantage at the system level through integration of subsystem effects. If all our subsystems have now adopted artificial intelligence, then as a company, we now have a differentiation advantage. With one data, using these 4 different approaches, you can write now 4 papers. By conceptualizing, first in organizational domain language, second, using psychology language, third, using biology language, and fourth, using physics language. And here you see I have only 3 elements. Here, a 4th element has been added. Each element now you're using only 2 different perspectives. In one perspective, you are focused on the independent variable. Other perspective is focused on the dependent variable. Similarly here, now you add 1 more element and you get 2 more papers. Let me now connect it with 2 more domains of knowledge so that you have 6 papers, not 4. How does one organization develops and edit diverse form? So you're differentiating yourself, right? So earlier, before using theory, you were one organization. You were an old organization, old school organization. You were an old school faculty who was using old theory or old methods. Now using new theory, new methods, a cutting edge theory, which is in vogue, which is very popular right now. So you have become a different organization. 4 ways in which you add that. One is knowing. Knowing means gyan. Knowledge is not gyan. The past potential to multiply by dividing self like everyone, ensuring infinity of ones. So codification. So whatever you know, you codify that. In genetics, what happens? A mother divides herself into infinity of daughter cells. Each cell is dividing into multiple cells. So that self is being divided by mother is dividing herself into infinity of ones because mother is behaving like everyone. So everyone which can be broken into a lot of ones. So that's called codification. Second, what you do is feeding. Feeding is called mitosis. You're feeding the present to divide one's future of dissimilarity. So your future is dissimilar from others. Mother in future is dissimilar from her daughter. From everyone's past of similarity. Everyone was a mother and now mother has become grandmother. Grandmother's divinity is within each of the mother. Divinity is your impact. Then breeding. Breeding means meiosis. Breeding the future as addition to the present, ensuring continuity. So what's happening? That you are now ensuring your continuity from old organization to new organization, and there is a continuing organization. So organization has to renew itself with every time. And if they don't adopt new technology, then there is no continuity of that organization. Mother is having daughters breed granddaughters. Daughters are breeding granddaughters because mother has codified that. Mother has codified the reproductive element within the consciousness of the daughter. If the daughter does not reproduce herself, then mother will not continue. Mother's soul is now part of daughter, and daughter is transferring that to the granddaughter. If your theory, if you don't teach it to the students and students don't share with everybody else, then whatever you taught, that's ended with your life. तो आपका अमरता चाहिए तो आप ये चाहते हैं कि भैया ना जिसको भी मैंने जो सिखाया है वो आगे उसको पढ़ाए चलता रहे दुनिया इस तरीके से और कैसे how will I get life of eternity. And finally free riding. Okay, free riding on time for subtraction of space already formed before servicing the causation to transform the space form with your effect. Every time you're differentiating new things, a new space is being formed. एक ने अपने आप को डिवाइड किया 2 में तो 3 बन गए. पहले केवल एक ही स्पेस थी उसके अंदर बॉडी में, अब है ना 3 की स्पेस हो गई है. फिर उसके बाद है ना उन 2 ने अपने आप को 4 में डिवाइड किया. Okay, your body is constituted of cells and every cell is dividing itself. So there has to be more space being created. How the new space is being created? Because whatever is the old cell, that is being destroyed as the new cells are being formed. Discontinue of whatever you existed, because that truth is no longer relevant now, because you have transferred your truth to somebody else. Knowing is actually called bifurcation. It's used in plants. And free riding is called bifurcating and trifurcating, that you're dividing things into 2 parts versus dividing things into 3 parts. So these 4 processes are fundamental genetic processes. Trading is आपने ये क्यों चीज ली, टेक्नोलॉजी सर्विसिंग is आप ये चीज दे क्यों रहे हो, बांट क्यों रहे हो. The reason why you are sharing whatever you know with everybody else is the very first step is assessment. You're assessing and codifying your self-worth like an ecosystem. तो आप कह रहे हैं कि अभी मैं थ्योरी यूज कर रहा हूं उस थ्योरी का एजेंट बना हुआ हूं. I have to cite that person, and all the credit is being taken by the person I'm citing. They are getting their CV stronger. That so many people have cited my work. You have contributed to increasing the value of that person. उसकी तो सैलरी और इंक्रीज हो रही है, आपकी तो वहीं की वहीं है. क्या आपके काम से उसकी सैलरी बढ़ गई? तो अब आप कहते हैं कि ना मैं असेस करता हूं कि कैसे मैं ना ऐसा बन जाऊं कि लोग मेरा साइड करें, उसका भूल जाए. Okay, so technology awareness, which is feed awareness of your consciousness. Consciousness becomes a technology. Your Atma, consciousness is Chetna, but it's also Atma. Chetna becomes a technology which forms a consciousness system. Okay, consciousness system is called astrological system in Sanskrit. Sara Kalpa, whole system. It transforms you from one similar into someone dissimilar from everyone. Okay, so when you have awareness कि आप है ना एक एजेंट बन गए हैं और आप ना प्रिंसिपल की तरह बिहेव कर रहे हैं, you are behaving like a person with authority. So what happens? You have now become dissimilar from everyone. Everyone is an agent. Everyone is a free agent who is using their mind freely to promote somebody else. Okay, आप कहते हैं मेरे को ये freedom नहीं चाहिए, false freedom है. I don't want this freedom. Okay, so you are giving me this freedom to promote you. I don't want that freedom. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll use my own freedom to be a principal. That awareness has created you someone dissimilar. Then technology attention. Attention is breed consciousness system with attentive devotion to universalize your unique form. So now everybody is citing you instead of somebody else. Your unique form is that I am a principal. That's what in your mind, you have made up your mind. And finally, technology adaptation. Free ride for adapting to the competitive effect by creating readiness of mind to trade the compensating complementary effect. गुरु ने आपको सिखा दिया, आप है ना उसको लेकर है ना भाग रहे हैं, तो क्या हो रहा है कि कंपटीशन हो गया मेरे लिए. मास्टर शेफ बंद हो गया ना, क्योंकि मास्टर शेफ कहता है कि है ना टीवी के अंदर की भैया मैंने और शेफ बना दिए, वही मास्टर शेफ बन गए, तो मेरी इनकम का क्या होगा. Compensating complementary effect. What's a complementary effect? That you are actually citing me. Okay, even though you are also publishing the same area, but now you are citing me, therefore complementary effect, it's creating a synergy with my work, because I can now refer to your work as I promote my work. I don't have to self-cite only, because if I do only self-citation, then credibility of my work is low. Now I can also cite that you also supporting my theory. So that your supplementary effect, what is a supplementary effect? Supplementary effect is the fact that you created somebody else as your copy. That is not self-destructive. So when supplementary effect is self-destructive, अगर organization ने अपने supplier को train कर दिया, तो when organization is going to die? Organization is going to die when the supplier also starts doing the same thing as organization is doing, and organization is not able to take benefit of whatever supplier is doing. If you have this clarity, then you will be focused on this compensating complementary effect. Competitive effect will come zero. So now I have used strategy theories with one data, 6 different approaches, bringing a lot of clarity in what exists right now. And why you are able to do that? Because you are using one data and pushing it further. If you were jumping from one data to another data, you will never get this clarity.
Hello, sir.
Yes. So that's a very good question. Again, if you look at law, so what is law? Law is an absolute truth. But now research shows that that dissimilar things don't attract. in water.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in dissimilar things in water actually repel each other. So whatever was considered law, now there are exceptions to law.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then what happens? There are as more and more exceptions come, people say that it was no longer a law. It was not a law of natural selection. It should be theory of natural selection. So law, absolute truth, it no longer remains absolute truth. So if you want to call something theory, kind of again, you have to have that conviction using the method
Right.
that, because there's already some absolute truth already existing in your
Right.
field, whether that is being called a law or not. Okay, so
sir,
but there's a truth which is existing, and unless you destroy that truth, a theory is always meant to falsify. A law is always meant to falsify. Okay.
Okay.
Therefore, if you don't want eternity, if you don't want your wisdom to be cost effective, in that case, can you follow the Western approach? So you're saying that we become copy of Westerners. Westerners are doing this. Can we do that too? I'm teaching you, I'm sharing with you a model which will take you beyond Westerners.
Okay.
Help you challenge, which if you are able to show that whatever are the major laws that exist, they are false. They are false because they are partial realities. They're not truths. Then
okay, sir. Getting you.
Then your credibility is going to increase even more. Okay,
right, sir. Right.
So
right.
you are able to show. So here, what I have done, that there's a mitosis, meiosis, there's nucleating, there's a codification. So 4 elements. Now you have provided a systems approach. The system is true.
Okay.
Okay, so if you say that law of attraction, that's false. But because between two things, there can be attraction, whether they're dissimilar or similar. There can be attraction, there could be repulsion, there could be no action, there could be interaction.
So, sir, whatever the existing theories are already available, we can challenge them also.
And my next set of slides are based on that. You'll have to use different theories. Now, you may say that I'm not an expert in psychology. So you have to have a collaboration with psychology department. How you can publish actually not 6 papers, but 100 papers with one data set. So the Globe research, we have published 100,000 papers, still continuing, and they will continue. Even Hofstede's research data, a lot of papers have been written. Okay, so only mind is a limitation. If you say that only these many papers can be written with the one data set. There are 7 causal models where you are focusing on cause. One cause model is assessment is contributing to awareness, awareness contributing to attention, attention is contributing to adaptation, then adoption, acceptance, application, and then assimilation. 2 cause model is assessment and awareness are leading to attention, awareness and attention leading to adaptation, attention and adaptation leading to adoption, adaptation, adoption, acceptance. 3 cause model is 3 causes are causing adaptation, 3 causes are there are 3 factors explaining adoption, 3 factors explaining acceptance, 3 factors explaining application, 3 application, assimilation. 4 cause model is this. Okay. If you have designed your study well, oftentimes you are going to find evidence on the 4 cause model that all 4 causes are significant, up to 4 causes. And in some cases, 5th cause will be significant. In other cases, what you'll find is that the first cause is the most significant, second cause is a little bit less significant. So suppose first cause is 0.001, second cause will be 0.01, third cause will be 0.05. By the 5th, they start losing significance. Maybe they're significant at 0.10 level. And 6th cause, they become even less significant. And by the time you come to 7th cause, where all these are explanatory factors, and they're contributing to assimilation, you'll find that the beta has started reducing to 0. Okay. So the 7 cause model. 7 different papers focusing on different ways of analyzing data. 1 cause model paper, you can create a 2 cause model paper, you can create a 3 cause model paper, 4 cause model paper, 5 cause, 6 cause, 7 cause. Moreover, you can create sequential models where the focus is on pair-wise effects. So assessment is leading to awareness. Awareness is leading to attention. So that's pair-wise effects. Then two-link model. Assessment is causing awareness and attention. So awareness is the factor which is intermediating the link between assessment and attention. So you can show that how awareness transforms the link between awareness and attention. How attention transforms the link between awareness and adaptation. So whatever your attention comes here in terms of mental attention, where your mind is attending, how mental attention focus changes what you are aware into what you adapt. So if I'm not aware, if I'm not paying attention to the weather report, okay, so even though I'm aware that the weather is cloudy, but I didn't pay attention to the weather report, so I never kind of consciously considered carrying an umbrella. And therefore, I did not adapt to the weather. Then another study, you can create the three-link model where you're focusing on how assessment, awareness, attention is leading to adaptation. And how then awareness and attention together are transforming the link between assessment and adaptation. Here you did focus on attention. Now you focus on adaptation. You have a different paper. 5-link model, 5 links. 6-link model here. So what we have done here, we have actually, just like genetic sequencing. In genetic sequencing, everything is sequenced. Because there is a precision. We understand science is about precision. In social sciences, we have not reached that level of precision. This is showing you that that's the level of precision. When you don't have precision, then that's when you say that all these factors may be contributing this. I don't know which one of them is contributing in what sequence. Okay, when you have understanding clearly, then you can do, so you can do 7 of these papers, you can do 7 of these papers. Then you can do factors which are sort of mediating the effect. Okay, or you call moderators. So 7 consequential models. So for instance, you say that what contributes to a consumer consuming a new technology, using a new app. So before the consumer used the new app, the consumer is a non-user. After the consumer used the app, the consumer has become a user. So the identity of the consumer has changed from a non-user to a user. User is a consequential identity which shapes their continuity to use, their ability to influence everybody else to use. Models where so global attention, global times attention lead to adaptation. Uniqueness, adaptation, uniqueness time adaptation leads to adoption. So what model I'm using? I'm using what I call guider model. Guider means guru. G-U-I-D-E-R. Guider. So something is global. Global becomes unique. Okay, you localize yourself. Yeah, I'm not copy of somebody else. I'm unique. Now I'm including my copies, the people I'm teaching. So I've created my own team, including my own team. I'm diversifying myself. Instead of being a part of the team, I'm now becoming a leader who's lead me a team. Everybody is my follower. Then I have become engaged. I become engaged in training them so that they become responsible. I become responsible, or they become responsible to train other people so that I create a big network. Guru Shakti is called gravitational energy. Guru Shakti is Prajanya Shakti. So whatever is the Guru wisdom, is the student able to reproduce that? So that's a reproductive element. Guru Shakti is a reproductive energy. Then 7 metaphysical models focus on discontinuous effect of UID identity, because global, then uniqueness, inclusion, diversity. Those 3 are one localized identity. So you can now measure pairwise uniqueness, inclusion, and diversity interactions. And if you do pairwise causal effects, that's called infinite effect of present reality. So these are different ways actually you can quantify the effects on different models. So this becomes a little bit more sophisticated. Then 7 dynamic models. I shared only the first one, 0th octave, but you continue that. After assimilation, action comes, accommodation. These are 57 theories of psychology. They're well famous. Action theory is well famous. Accomplishment theory is well famous. Absorption theory is well famous. Anomy theory is well famous. There are scales available, which have been tested by scholars hundreds of times. Alienation theory is well famous, world famous. Adversity theory is world famous. Assertiveness theory is world famous. Using this solution, which I've given you, a magic, you can now publish 1,000 papers with one data set using existing data. And interestingly, your first set of 8 variables are the ones which are mapping into these. If you master this, then you don't even have to measure these. Even with the measure of the first 8 elements, you can predict what the results will be here. Okay, because the effect, whether they're going to continue, whether they're going to reproduce, that is going to tell you kind of how these effects are going to continue until you reach anomy. Okay, anomy is called normlessness. Normlessness means that you become free of the previous norm. You become the norm. You're not a copy of anybody else now. So it takes that 57. 57 is also divinity, the energy value of divinity. 5 हाथ है हमारे, ये छठा हो गया, और है ना देन एक किसी गुरु का हाथ हो गया, तो 7 हाथ हो गए. तो जो 5 को 7 बना दे उसको दिव्यता बोलते हैं. So 57 elements take you to this anomy, normlessness, that you express your divinity. You don't have to borrow somebody else's divinity. You don't have to behave as if you are a principal. You are the principal. The planning model is the planning by mind enhances brain's performing. So planning was the 5th element, and the performing was 7. So 5th influences 7. So when we are planning, whatever I'm planning, I'm able to perform. Now, programming says that whatever you're planning, that should not continue, because whatever was planned earlier, you should use that knowledge. If intellect is always working with what mind is saying, then what will happen? Intellect will never be able to focus. It always have to move to new ideas as your mind is coming up with new ideas. So intellect says that, no, you already planned this earlier, therefore I'm going to program this. I'm going to continue with your earlier planning. And I'm going to integrate your new planning there. So therefore it influences your profiting. Because आप हर बारी काम ही करते रह जाओगे, तो प्रॉफिट तो होगा ही नहीं. तो इंटेलेक्ट कहता है माइंड के हिसाब से नहीं चलेंगे, हम अपने हिसाब से चलेंगे ताकि हमारे को प्रॉफिट हो जाए. प्रॉफिट का मतलब है कि सेल में वो नॉलेज आ जाए. फिर ग्रोथ मॉडल, so 5 influences 7, 6 influences 8, 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 8. So odds, evens, and then finally 7th lead to 8th, where entropy in brain's performing, because you have become conscious of the reality, you are able to immediately. I hope it opens up your mind, and that's what is most important to the possibilities. Use existing constructs or develop your new constructs, but using this 57 sequence of different A theories, which are very well established in psychology. If you Google any one of them, you will get the whole constructs and scales. And you can use those, you can adapt that to your context. For instance, if you're doing dating apps, you adapt that to dating app context. So that becomes your contribution. So people are then going to quote you. Because if you just copy everything what they have done, then they're going to cite them. But if you adapt them based on your particular area of research, then people are going to cite you.
Sir, in my PhD work, I proposed the 11 models, out of which 4 already published. So still I can use that particular data that I had collected 4 years back or 5 years back to publish the data.
Look at anomy as a dependent variable. Of course, guys, if you look at it independent variable, you will get some results. But this is what you should look at attunement, and you should reinterpret your constructs based on. First of all, you should do a literature review on these constructs. You should reinterpret your constructs based on attunement, anti-fragility, and that's what I have done in my work. Okay, so I have reinterpreted something as planning, programming. So planning was kind of what, for instance, there was a construct called what's the project manager doing? So I call that planning. Then they said, what's the supervisor support? So supervisor support is programming. Supervisor is the paper which was published was that how Indonesian voters vote. What determines their voting intention? But I am using it I'm not using it as voting intention. I'm using it as a choice. What determines their identity? So I was able to show that that based on social influence, the religious beliefs are influenced and their identity is influenced. So if somebody is in Indonesia, over time, non-Muslims become Muslims.
Okay,
That's
sir.
what I'm showing.
Okay.
Okay, so instead
Okay.
of quoting intention as a dependent variable, I use religious beliefs as a dependent variable. They use religious beliefs as an explanatory factor. I use this as a dependent variable. And then because behavior comes later, and then assimilation in the identity. So I was able
Okay,
to show that religious beliefs encourage you to become Muslim.
Okay, so we can use the same scale and recollect again the data from the
No, you don't have to recollect your existing data. You have to reinterpret that. You read literature on these 8 variables and see which of your elements can be used to is a measure of which variable. You have some data which may well be adversity measure. Right now, you may be calling it something else. For instance, self-efficacy measure. Okay, self-efficacy measure, I called it national factor. Why? Because you feel confident if you're in the US. Because there's a national element which is making you feel effective. But if you are in Africa, then the national element is making you feel ineffective. So self-efficacy is a good indicator of national effect.
So thank you, Vipin sir, and thank you everyone. This is actually a very late hours, and you all people joined and listen very carefully. Still, there may be a certain kind of a doubt. You may just share those doubts to me. I will forward those all kind of queries to Vipin sir, and also requesting that if he will address that through a mail to you, or we can arrange some other session on some day where you can again put your queries to Professor Vipin sir. Even once again, I just request you, sir, whenever you are coming, just spare one day for us. We will arrange your convenient traveling or other kind of stuff, but requesting you to come to our place, sir.
What I would suggest is that everybody, whoever is interested, not everybody, but whoever is interested can start working on these ideas if you feel appropriate. And then we can organize maybe a sort of a coaching or one-to-one session of a group of faculty, right? So of those who have moved forward in doing some research, we can do a follow-up session where, for instance, you asked whether that you will share your research. I don't want you to see your research. I want to see you doing first some efforts. And when you have reached a particular level, and then there are a group of faculty members who have reached a particular level, then we can all come together and we can look at your effort collectively to see how we can take it forward and mature it further and refine your thinking even more. So that way it becomes more productive. Once you're hearing, you're not just listening, you're actually practicing it and seeing whether it has value in your work or not.
Thank you, Professor Vipin. And in fact, it was more like a whole PhD work you have done. I mean, so the first slide when you started about the whole concept of a truth. So initially, in fact, I was just wondering, I mean, where we are heading. Then when you brought it to in the realm of theories, and then all the whole description probably it started unfolding, right? So this is really something very fascinating. Let me tell you, it gives you an approach, the direction, which normally we don't really pay attention to, and a very systematic way that how the data should be which is not properly collected, probably how we can use it for say bringing out multiple papers. I think you have just warmed up to this whole idea, and perhaps you are very right. This presentation has been shared, and as you said that well, recording will also be shared. Let's the people who are interested, they may work on it, and naturally, if we are putting something before you, it should be well worked. And then finally, there should be something to show to you. So I'm very sure a couple of us will definitely be taking it forward. So thank you very much. And my sincere thanks and regards to you. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to try my presentation, first of all, on all of you. before I take it to other universities over the next
Yeah.
weeks. Yes.
Because initially it was little, I was wondering why the metaphysics and why hardcore philosophical thing, but it is all deep down into thing. It was a really, it really is, it's called for a research, right? So are we really in the right direction or not? So thank you for that.
Right.
With all